Welcome to the Pickleballers podcast delivered by DoorDash. Today on Pickleballers, we have someone who does not need any introduction. We got Ben Johns, the go-to pickleball.
My first tournament ever was when I was 17 years old, US Open in 2016. I've been playing for a month. Yeah, March to April, yeah. What I consider kind of the start of pickleball for me was 2017. It was my senior year in high school. I was like, oh, this could be a real thing outside of just a fun hobby. So I basically just ended up playing pickleball every day. I think Kyle probably saw that I could easily be very good because he saw himself in me.
At what point does Kyle realize, oh man, I just created a monster?
One reason that a lot of people seem to appreciate pickleball is because it's hard to out-athlete people in pickleball. Like mechanics especially, I will say, are going to take you a lot further than just pure athleticism does.
You and Collin were so dominant. And then I think there started being some chinks in the armor.
Getting to play with your brother in a sport professionally is an incredible privilege, period. We realize this is unsustainable, right? In terms of winning.
Does the next Ben Johns exist? All right, today on Pickleballers, we have someone who does not need any introduction. We got Ben Johns, the go-to pickleball, one of my best friends on tour. Great dude. And we're here in Boca Raton, Florida, his new home. How you liking here?
Yeah, no, it's great. I get that question a lot. Florida's it's exactly why I moved here, which is it's great training. It's great for like repetitive lifestyle of, just being in the zone, doing your thing. So yeah, it's very good. Sometimes I get tired of incessantly sweating in sun every day, but it's great too. Yeah, you just gotta evacuate during the summer.
but seriously, Ben, thank you for making the time. I felt like we kind of had to stalk you to get you here. And before the podcast, I asked what your interest level was on a scale of 1 to 10. I said I thought it'd be a 3. You said a 5.
5 is high for me. No, 5 is good for me.
And I know you came because of the relationship with Roscoe, but I'm very appreciative that you are making time for this, and I'm stoked for this conversation. I have no idea where it's going to go, but let's get to it.
But yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys.
You've had so much training. Do you really move to Boca for training?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like for me, it was like Austin. You've been there a good amount.
Yeah,
Jared's there. Like Austin's a great place. I think for lifestyle wise, it's phenomenal. It's got great food. It's got a good variety of weather. Like so many great things about Austin. I pretty much moved to Boca not because I like love Florida or because I love anything about the lifestyle of Florida. Like it's good, it's fine. Like that's what I always say about it. But I literally moved because I was like, I want the best training. I want to just be as dedicated as I can be to pickleball. Just because if I'm playing something professionally, like you go full tilt or you don't. Like,
yeah,
there's no in between. And I was like, I will get better being there. That's kind of how I initially got better in pickleball, is being in Florida around the best players. So like I'm going back to my roots in a sense. Like that's how I thought of it. I didn't tell many people that, but I was like kind of back to the roots in a way.
You came out and played Tyler Tabman at the headquarters in Austin right before you moved. And I had for a couple months, I had all these plans. I was going to actually, I had an opportunity we talked about briefly, but I wanted to and then you were like, well, I'm moving. I was like, right. God, he's out. So
peace.
Yeah. So Austin definitely lost some of the pickleball capital of the world when Ben left, but
not only Ben though, I feel like a few people left now. Like you got Julian Arnold moved.
Lacey moved to there though.
Lacey moved to there.
Moved there right as
DJ moved. I think you had like that whole dreamland scene, and so Austin kind of
dried up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
and I say especially when you move.
Let's relax, okay? In the kitchen.
Yeah. Jared's still there. All right, take us back to the beginning a little bit. You grew up in Maryland. You had a huge family. What was little baby Ben Johns like, and how did he navigate this earth early on?
Yeah, he was an interesting kid, I think. Little me definitely liked doing anything and everything. A lot of variety. I pretty much did whatever Collin did in terms of sports. He was 6 years older, so I just followed along. At the time, it's 7 kids now, but it was 6 kids growing up because there's one really baby one. She's only 9 right now. But yeah, in Maryland growing up, we were all homeschooled. A lot of sports for us. I played baseball from the youngest age I could. I remember I was a pitcher, but I can vividly remember throwing baseball with my dad in the family room, living room, when I was probably 3 years old, maybe younger. I don't know. As soon as I could walk, I was throwing a baseball. So yeah, I did baseball up until I was 16, but a lot of that was in Maryland sports, just generally doing kind of whatever Collin did. Collin was same baseball until 16. When he picked up table tennis, I did too, same time.
He picked up table tennis first.
What age was this?
Yeah, so he was 14, which would have made me 8. So yeah, we started playing when he was 14. I was 8.
But when you say picked up table tennis, you just was playing table tennis, or he was like serious
he
about it?
played, I think initially Collin played ping pong. It's like in somebody else's basement, how we all play ping pong, right? And then he liked it so much that our dad got us a table to put in our basement and paddles and stuff. I remember that was a great
JOOLA
Christmas
table?
present. No, the very first table we had, like the cheap one, was like Stiga. And then when we went like for real, like, hey, nice table. Like my dad is such a phenomenal guy. When his kids have hobbies, he's like, if you're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. So he got us the premier, like the best table in the world at the time, like professional paddles. So
did any of y'all throw paddles into the wall or smash the table? I did that a lot.
My dad did. We were not allowed to.
Oh, really?
No.
I definitely broke up.
Any tantrums were not well received by our parents. So yeah, I remember I never threw a paddle and damaged it in the basement. If I was too loud, like if I was getting beat by Collin and I was getting upset, my dad I could still remember just walking down the hallway, shouting downstairs, "Ben, you're done. Get up here." Because basically where the table was right underneath where my dad would work. So if I was too loud, we were done. Collin still has a funny name for it, the Alamo. If the Alamo's coming in, you're done. You're not playing anymore.
And so was Hannah playing table tennis? Because I mean, I think the Waters are called, some people, I call them like the first family of pickleball, but I really think the Johns with you and Collin and Hannah, and now Georgia's playing. And, right? Like,
I mean, we all play pickleball to some extent. Hannah and Georgia are like 4 or 5s. But yeah, no, the girls kind of did their own thing.
Georgia's a 4-5?
I think Georgia's like, isn't she a 5-0?
She could be a 5-0, yeah.
And Hannah is like a 4-8. No? 4 or 5?
Might be overrated by you. It depends. She bangs the ball. She only hits it hard.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at receiving that, then she is a 4-8 to you.
Maybe that's why I think she's a 4-8.
Right. But if you're good at receiving that, then not so much. But yeah, no, the girls kind of did their own thing sports-wise. They played some softball. They dabbled in tennis, but none of the girls were like super sporty. Pickleball was the first thing that they've all played like a lot of. So yeah, they were not as into sports as we were. But yeah, some baseball, some tennis. But yeah, for us, it was tennis and table tennis. Like Collin and I growing up, I did what he did. And when he played tennis, I played tennis. Like if he needed to hit at any time, it was like I was the go-to. So that's why I kind of call myself a really good tennis hitting partner and a very poor player.
And Collin played pro tennis.
Yeah, so
he played college
ATP.
tennis?
No, he went directly to ATP because, again, my dad and kind of how he does things, which is like, hey, if you want to do something, like full on, go for it. Collin had some decent like tennis offers, but he's like, no, I want to play pro. Like that's the dream. So
I think
like,
my
right,
brother actually played him.
Yeah,
my older brother was like,
Robbie?
wait, I know. Yeah, my older brother Robbie was like, wait, I know Collin Johns.
Yeah, he was on the Futures Challengers tour for a
they
good
played
number
a
of years.
tournament in Mexico. I think.
Grinded, yeah. They all went to Mexico, Turkey, Japan. Like Collin's done a lot of traveling for tennis. So yeah.
And were y'all naturals, like with paddle sports and ping pong?
Naturals, I would say Collin was very much like a repetition guy. Like he just he loved tennis, like obsessively played it. He would go train like full on premier academy in the world in College Park, JTCC. That's where like Tiafo and stuff was. Yeah. I trained with Tiafo a decent amount. Tiafo was younger than him, but trained with him. And he'd be there, 4 or 5 hours on court a day and come home and he'd be like, we're going to play more. Wow. And that's where I came.
Wait, how far did you guys live from College Park?
An hour.
Okay, because that was where a lot of like
the top players trained. Kudla and Tiafo and a couple other good players. So yeah, Collin would take the metro at like 5 a.m. in the morning every day to go train there from 16 till 18, and then he started playing ATP after he was 18. And yeah, so I was just always the hitting partner. Whenever he came home and wanted to do more stuff, I was then the hitting partner because I stopped playing like tennis tournaments when I was like 11 maybe.
Was he obsessive over tennis in terms of how he is about pickleball? Like
more so.
Really?
Yeah. Like you haven't seen anything.
Really?
This guy was obsessed.
Because I mean, when you think of Collin and pickleball, it's like, all right, this guy's like a wizard. He's studying the game. He knows every angle. He knows where everyone's sitting. He knows every player. I know he's got like a little handbook on.
Yeah, I would exchange that. Like he was still very analytical, but he had like so much to learn. He wasn't like the savant. He was like the one that was catching up because he started playing at 14. All these kids have been playing since he was so young.
He started playing tennis at 14?
Yeah, and then he went on to play ATP, which is remarkable, right?
Yeah.
So he also played with 2 forehands in tennis. Like if people don't know this, there was like a lot to learn. So he did like a lot of absorption via just time. Like he just played as much as he possibly could, like 8 hours a day on court, which is just crazy numbers. Like
and it wasn't your thing. Like you liked
Not really. I like variety. So I like I played tennis, I played baseball, I played table tennis, I played some golf. Like I was just like, I don't really want to do any of this all day, every day. I'll do some of it.
Yeah.
And if I do too much, I get tired of it. And I was like, I'll come back to that later. So yeah, like growing up, I would not do any one thing like a lot of.
How fast is your fastball?
When I quit at 16, I was throwing in like the low to mid 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah.
All right.
But I definitely had a considerable amount of elbow problems. So I was like, yeah, we're done with this.
Yeah.
So let's transition into, I guess, how'd you find pickleball then?
Pickleball we lived in Estero, Florida, or not lived in, but because we were all homeschooled, my family would go down to Estero, Florida for like 3 months out of the year. Is kind of their winter vacation to get away from the Maryland gray winters. So there were tennis courts there. There were pickleball courts that got built there. So yeah, I picked up pickleball just because when Collin would want to hit at our community courts, the tennis courts, the pickleball courts were right next to them. So I picked up pickleball just seeing it played. I was like, oh, it looks fun. We'll try another racket sport. Why not? Looks like a fun game. So I ended up playing with in Bellaterra in Estero, the community, a lot with just like the older people, of course. At the time, pickleball was just all older people playing. So I would play.
And how old are you at the time?
I was almost 17.
Okay.
So I picked it up in March. I turned 17 that March. And then Estero is between Fort Myers and Naples. Naples was hosting the U.S. Open for the very first time in 2016 there. And I was just kind of fortunate. I met kind of the right people. I met the then director of the U.S. Open kind of randomly and just got introduced to him. He
What was his name?
Jim Ludwig.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chris and Terry, I think, owned the U.S. Open and then sold it. Jim was, I'm not sure what his official title was, but some director something. He and Chris and Terry were the primary three at the U.S. Open. So met him and like I even like volunteered at the U.S. Open to like help put stuff together because it was in 2016. It looked very, very different. Like the U.S. Open was
center. Was there a center court?
There was a center court. There was no canopy.
Yeah.
It didn't look nearly as grand, but it was very cool because at that time, like there were no big tournaments. There was Nationals and Tournament of Champions and the U.S. Open. Those were the big three. And the U.S. Open just coming on the scene there used to just be 2 tournaments, and then the U.S. Open happened. And that was the first time in 2016. So my first tournament ever was when I was 17 years old, the U.S. Open in 2016.
And you've been playing for like less than a year?
I've been playing for a month.
A month?
March to April, yeah.
And who'd you play with?
So I played with Vivian David's older sister, Abby David.
Okay.
Yeah. I played with her in the mixed age bracket back when there were age brackets and not pro brackets. The pro bracket was full, so we couldn't get in. And then I played pro singles. So I just played those 2 because I didn't know enough people to have like a doubles partner.
How'd you do in singles?
Singles, I got 5th. Yeah.
It's really good.
You know what, Jared? The other day I got to pickleball practice and I realized I left my balls at home. So I downloaded the DoorDash app and I got them delivered to my court. You know what's crazy is the other day I was starving, but I wanted to play that one more game. I had my DoorDash moment, played the game, on the way home, order the food, Chinese food, waiting for me, DoorDash. Download it today for all of your pickleball needs.
We interviewed Deckel. I don't know, you probably didn't watch the episode.
I did not.
Yeah, but he said that, so he was good friends with Collin and that you guys would be, they'd be playing tennis. And then at some point you were like, hey guys, like check out pickleball. And they were like, so Ben, you like won a tournament. You're like, how much did you win? You're like $500. Like, we're good. You play your pickleball game. We're gonna play tennis.
Yeah. So Declan and Collin grinded on the Futures Tour together, and they both started playing pickleball. When I finally got them to try it for real, was in like summer of 2018. They played like a couple tournaments. That was like 2 years after I had picked it up, basically. Yeah.
Was Kyle Yates a pretty big part of your pickleball journey?
Very much so. So he lived in Fort Myers. So Sarah was right by there. I first met him in 2016, and then we went back to Maryland for like the season. So I played 2 more tournaments that year in 2016, some random one in Michigan, and then nationals at the end of the year. What I consider kind of the start of pickleball for me was 2017. It was my senior year in high school. We went back to Estero, and senior year in high school, being homeschooled, I was like ahead in some stuff where I didn't really need to do that much schoolwork. I was like, all right, I got my SATs out of the way. I already know what I'm doing. Like, I don't have that much work to do in the morning. So I basically just ended up playing pickleball every day. And Kyle was the best, obviously, at the time. And basically he was awesome. He would just drive to Estero from Fort Myers, and we would basically drill like nearly every day.
So he took you under his wing.
Yeah, that's how I got good. I just drilled with Kyle like every day in 2017. And then also, I forget, it might have been, I think it was 2017. Yeah, it was, that Simone also moved there. So I didn't see her quite as much in 2017. Like Kyle was all the time. But Simone also being the best women's player, I got to play with her and do a lot of stuff, like just getting better, just learning from her was great. Kyle was just drilling it like every day. So yeah,
are you hooked at this point?
Oh, I was fully hooked in 2017 for sure. Like 2016, I loved it and I wanted to play a lot. I just didn't have access as much because Maryland, there was no pickleball in Maryland in 2016. So 2017, when I went back to Florida and was there for like 4 or 5 months, that's when I like was grinding every day. Just, you know how it is, like playing like 6 hours.
When you first start, it's like
it's magical.
Especially coming from tennis, it's like this is the greatest thing in the world. It's honestly, you know what it's like? It's like when you find, and I'm using this analogy because Ben's here. It's like when you first start playing like Fortnite or like Call of Duty, and you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
and you're just like 10 hours a day.
So for those who don't know, and I didn't know till today, Ben loves Fortnite, and he's a 5.0 Fortnite player. We'll talk about Fortnite in a bit, but so I have a question about. So you said that you like variety, right? And you didn't want to do one thing,
Right.
What about pickleball made it that inflection point? You're like, okay, that's the thing.
I think it was a couple things. One was, to me, it was variety in the sense that it was a combination of the racket sports that I had played, which table tennis and tennis. It was like kind of in between, where it struck like a nice sweet spot for me in terms of the stuff that it had in the game that was just, I don't know, it hit something there. And then it was also just, I think, a certain maturity level of being 16, 17. I was just more ready mentally to do more of one thing in a day. Whereas when I was like 8, 9, I was like, come on, like,
you
want to do other stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I see like tennis guys, like, of course, some kids just truly love it. But when I see tennis kids that are like told to go, train 4 hours a day, and they're like, they're a kid, they don't want to do that.
They're
like,
burnt
how
out
do
by
they
the
even
time they're
know
18.
like how to train, like take anything seriously? They do not. They're being told to by their parents, so they do it. And that, they end up burnt out.
You're
like
actually so right on that, because I'm thinking about my tennis career in terms of a big part of why I loved playing was because we had a tennis center and I would go out and play with all my friends. So it was fun. Yeah. But for those other kids that their parents just told them, like, you're going to go out and
it's
train.
Like a job
like
when
it's
you're
not about.
It's like having a job when you're a kid. Like it's the wrong thing. That's another thing. Like my parents were so great at. It's like they never forced us to do anything. Like if we were not into it, it's like, nope, not for you. Move on.
It's such a great way to parent.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but it also was like, oh, do you like this? Let me do everything I can to make this. Yeah. Like my dad would, work super long days, and then he'd be like, all right, I'm taking you to a tennis tournament this weekend because you want to be there, right?
That's
or
awesome.
I'm taking you on Friday
your dad
nights.
Sounds like the coolest guy.
He's incredible.
What's his name?
Mark. Yeah. Or he'd take us to like the table tennis center. That's how we got good at table tennis. It was like a premier place in the US for table tennis players. And we were like, I mean, no, like not going to be anything like we were the only white kids there. Like it was, everyone was really good at table tennis. And we looked at a place, all Asian. Yeah. And they were very, very good from, tiny, like 6, 7 years old, all the way up to very like professional players basically. And my dad was like, you guys want to go? I'll take you there. Right.
That's awesome.
Like it did not matter to him. It's like, if we like something, he was there for it. Yeah. So which parents are great.
And so did Kyle see something in you, or were y'all just friends? Was he like, wow, this kid's going to be good? Or was it just like, do you think he saw the future?
I don't think pickleball was in a place at the time for anybody to see a lot of future. Of course, it was a great game and everything, but like seeing into the future was hard for pickleball as a whole. So therefore, you don't even know what a player can be in a sport that isn't what it is yet. But I think Kyle probably saw that I could easily be very good because he saw himself in me probably because I was a similar age and there weren't many kids of a similar age to him at the time with a similar background. He played some table tennis, played some tennis, so did I. But yeah, no, mostly we were just friends. We hung out, we had a good time, like just playing tournaments in the early days. Like it was not about money or even being that good. Like we didn't grind because we were trying to get a job out of it. We grinded because we liked it. Yeah. Right. And we liked playing tournaments and it was just incredibly fun. So more than anything, we were like friends first and then just also loved getting good at pickleball.
And when did that transition start to where it's like, hey, this is actually starting to get some popularity or grow as a sport and this could be something I could do more of?
For me, so I went to school at the University of Maryland in 2017. So after my what I view as my fun year of go play pickleball every day in Florida, go all summer. Basically, I spent all summer away from home just playing pickleball tournaments and playing with the best players at the time. And then fall 2017 is when I went to school freshman year, and then things changed drastically. I still tried to like travel for tournaments as I could, but school took a priority for a long time. But first time I'd say as I remember in terms of like my school years where I was like, oh, this could be a real thing outside of just a fun hobby. It was probably 2019 because I got my first endorsement deal where I was seeing real money, right? Where it was like, tournaments, if you broke even with flights and lodging and everything, then it was a win, right?
Is that with Engage?
Engage, I was with from 2016 until 2019. 2019 was Franklin for 3 years until 2022. So 2019 was the first time I saw real money from Franklin, where I was like, oh, this is like a full-time job.
And you had your own paddle, which was
it was
paddle.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
If you're wondering what this hat is that I'm always wearing, it's a pickleballer hat. And guess what? You can get your own too. Click the link down below to get access to the limited drop for this pickleballer hat.
So yeah, that was the first time I was like, this could be a real thing. And at some point from kind of sophomore, junior year there, and seeing it as a possibility, and then kind of a blend in between of seeing the PPA tour start and just having more tournament options. By the time I graduated, it was like, okay, it's fairly obvious what you're going to be doing. You're going to be playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Why would you not? So yeah, it was a funny gradual blend. But yeah, I'd say to answer your question, like 2019 was the first time that I saw it was like more real potential than just fun, hobby, all that.
So your college years, like, were you going to basketball games? Were you into the
I was doing
Terps?
The normal college things. I was going to basketball games, going to football games.
Partying? Big party guy?
Freshman, sophomore year, like I wouldn't say I was a big party guy. I never really liked drinking that much. So, I mean, I'd go to some occasionally. It was more social than anything. But I wouldn't say I did a lot of it. And less as I got more into years. Like, I remember senior year, by the time I was, it actually took me 5 years to graduate because I changed my major. But for like senior year, extra senior year, fifth year, I was probably gone like 9-10 weekends out of the 13 weekends just for pickleball stuff. So it got more and more to where it's like, I don't have time to do anything but study and travel for pickleball.
Were you in a fraternity?
No.
Brat Ben Johns.
That'd be great. Were your friends at Maryland aware that you were like this stud in the sport?
I didn't really bring up what I did.
Were they like, where are you going? I just go.
That's the ones that would know, or they're like, you're just disappearing. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I'd explain it to the ones that did actually know. But yeah, no, a lot of my friends, they knew what I did, especially the ones I played like club tennis with. I'd usually go play like once a week because they were obviously into racket sports and they followed along social media a little bit of kind of what I did. So yeah, they knew, but it was also like a gradual thing of at first it's like, what is pickleball?
Yeah.
And then like, oh, pickleball, yeah, I think I've heard of that. Until like by the end it was like, oh, it's like pro tournaments and stuff.
Yeah,
this is really
it's a real
cool,
thing.
right? Yeah.
And your major was materials engineering or mechanical?
Close. So yeah, I started my first year, I was in business school because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And after 1 year in business school, I figured out what I wanted to do. And I came into school with actually a good amount of credit, like 20 plus credit hours. And I was going to graduate early if I stayed in business school. And I decided at that point, for some reason, that I was going to go into material science engineering. So that's the field. And that took away my extra credit because none of my stuff really applied. And I had to go through the whole process of transferring schools, and it added a whole extra year. So I was going to graduate in 3.5. It ended up being 4.5.
Were you passionate about it? Like, did you actually see yourself doing that in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I switched. Like, I remember another conversation with Dad where he's like, it's going to cost you a year. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, you got to give me a good reason why you want to be doing this. So like, I actually figured out that I like this.
Why'd you know you wanted to do that? Like, what was the job or the career in the future that you were like, that's why I need this?
It was a combination of things. So with that field, the first was I just didn't know that existed as an engineering. Like, I looked at engineering, I looked at chemical, I looked at mechanical. I was like, it just doesn't really do it for me. And also at the time, I think I was just like over like math and sciences in high school. I was like, God, I've just done too much of that. I need something else. And then after I got back into that in college, I was like, oh, I'm good at this. I like this. Let's do more of that. And business school is more about like they emphasized over and over, it's who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm here in college to learn stuff. I want to know more, stuff. I don't need to know more people. You can do business without that. Not that business school is not good for a lot of people. It's incredible for a lot of people. For me personally, just because I was doing what I was doing, I wanted to know more technical stuff, and that's engineering basically. And materials just hit a good little like blend of stuff for me where I was like, that's what actually interests me is working with materials and stuff. I didn't really have too much of a career like specific jobs in mind, but I knew that generally, all of it interested me. So
do the JOOLA people ever call you and they're like, Ben, we need some material engineering in this battle?
I think that was actually a real, like, wasn't that a significant part of, I mean, you have a lifetime deal with JOOLA, right?
Yeah.
And did that major and that passion for materials play a role in that?
So it was more the other way around, which is I did another reason I got interested in materials engineering in the first place was pickleball paddles at the time. Of course, they were not anything what they are now. And even right now, they're not incredibly complex. And when you come to like material science, like that's kind of a cutting edge field in a lot of ways. And it's not nearly as complex in pickleball as what it is in the industry. But it was definitely a causing thing where I was like, I'm interested in materials. I'm interested in pickleball paddles. There's some crossover there. And I was always very hands-on with my sponsors of, hey, if we're together, we're going to make a paddle together. We're going to work very closely together, right? And that continued with JOOLA. They're incredible at kind of their R&D and communicating with me and how we test stuff. Like it's all very well done. Their head guy that I talk with the most is a material science engineer.
Who is that?
His name's Fabio. He's from Brazil. So yeah, he's the lead engineer at JOOLA.
And they're in College Park, right?
Not exactly. They're JOOLA is based in Rockville.
Maryland.
Rockville, Maryland. Originally a German company. But they have a large presence in Asia because Asia table tennis, like there's a lot of crossover there as well as in Europe. But yeah, for whatever reason, they were headquartered 20 minutes from where I grew up, which is random and another part of just kind of it helped with them being in the same area. So, but yeah, back to your original question, I guess that wasn't really too much of a consideration in terms of the lifetime deal. There were a lot of things that went into that, but it certainly didn't hurt, right? Yeah. Just being able to work with them very closely was a big part to me of why I like being with them. As to whether they consider that for them and me, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is interesting how they, I mean, you were already such a big deal at that time, but it is taking a big bet on you that you're going to continue to succeed by giving someone a lifetime deal. And this is back in 2022, you said?
So no, the initial deal was 22. That was a 2-year deal, and we renewed in, I want to say that was early 24.
Okay.
And so Franklin deal is coming to an end.
From 2019 to 2022, it came. Yeah, that was another interesting story. There's a lot of interesting, funny history to pickleball when you have like a 10-year career, like me. I guess I'm not that recent anymore. To where there's a lot of funny stories. But yeah, how that happened was actually pretty funny to me at least, because they were very much a dark horse. I didn't even know JOOLA was a thing at all until I was already talking to 3 other companies. They were well in the midst of negotiations, and a friend of mine, Eric White, who now works for JOOLA, but at the time did not. I knew Eric since 2016 because he was one of the best players in Maryland. But he's like, hey, you should talk to these guys. Like, there might be something there. Like, I'm not saying there will be, but you should at least talk to them. So
was this like Tom and Richard?
The initial conversation was with Richard and Mike Squires, who was the second in command there. I think VP was his title. And then our first in-person meeting was Richard, Mike, and Tom.
So JOOLA was one of our first big partners, and I remember a call. Jason and I got on a call with them, and I don't think they had officially signed you, or maybe they had, but they hadn't announced it. And they were like, we got Ben, and I was like, wow. and like, I think it was such a genius move on all of y'all's parts, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But especially theirs, because they were entering the sport with the rich history of table tennis. Kind of that was their legacy. And obviously, they knew how to make products.
Yeah.
And they landed the whale.
Yeah. Like, there was a lot of stuff that went into it, but I got a question recently in one of the buyers summits that we had in Asia with JOOLA about why JOOLA initially. And the first word that came to mind for me was, at the time, it was bravery. I was like, it was really brave of you guys to be a 70-year-old table tennis company that's only ever done table tennis for 70 years and gone, you know what? We need Ben. We need pickleball. Like, what? What company does that? Like, it's actually, it was very like, it was a genius move on their part in so many ways, not just me, but pickleball in general. It was like, good call. Like, they're doing phenomenal now. So of course, a lot of companies can say that, but very few can say that they were 70 years in another sport and then decided pickleball, right? Like, it was.
But you recognize that name from table tennis.
Yes, yeah. JOOLA is one of the primary names in table tennis. So I didn't know they were headquartered 20 minutes from where I grew up. But I knew JOOLA quite well in terms of a table tennis company, yeah.
So taking a step back to when you're training with Kyle, at what point does Kyle realize, oh man, I just created a monster. This guy's better than me. And has he ever said, man, I wish I didn't do that?
No, definitely not. He's only ever been incredibly positive about like, just love to see, everything that's happened and how well, I've done in pickleball. But I do remember it was 20, trying to think. There was a specific nationals. Yeah, it was 2017 nationals. And he lost in the men's doubles final. And I remember watching the match, and I remember getting a text from him like 30 minutes after the match, like right after the match. He's like, bro, we're playing everything next year. Lock
awesome.
in. I was like,
who was he playing with?
yes.
Was he playing like Nils Miller?
He was playing with Wes Gabrielson in the 2017 final, lost to Daniel Moore and Matt Wright. And he's like, hey, lock in. We're playing.
And you were into it. You were
I
like
was stoked. I was
really?
like, let's go.
So like he was the guy.
Yeah, no, Kyle was totally the guy. He was that guy. Wow. Like he in 2016 he won all big 3 tournaments. In 2017, I think he won like 2 out of the 3.
It's such a shame that he's not on the PPA tour.
Yeah.
And I think he's like more into surfing. I don't know what he's up to. I'd love to interview him at some point. I love Kyle.
He's got the variety mindset. He does a lot of things that he enjoys. He dabbles in some pickleball still. He does surfing. He travels. Like he does it right.
He's like surfing
he's
for fun.
He's very good at surfing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like his thing right now.
And so you had this run where you just became so dominant, winning winning all the tournaments, singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. How'd that kind of happen? Were you working harder than everyone else? Were you studying the game harder than everyone else? Were you just around the right people?
Yeah, a lot of what you just said. I mean, I think Kyle asked me to play was a big part of that, and being around Kyle and getting a lot better because of him was a huge part of that. So playing with him, we played our biggest one, 2018 Nationals final, and then all of 2019 together, and we won, I think. Yeah, no, we won all 3 in 2019, all the big 3 at the time. We won 2018 Nationals. So all the big stuff that we played together, we won. Yeah.
Sweep.
So yeah, Kyle was a huge part of that, just in terms of partner, and then also as we traveled together, we practiced together. Like
who was better?
Who was better?
And at that time.
So in 2018, I would say he was definitely better. In 2019, there was kind of a transition to where I started to play the left like a lot more.
And he was good with it.
Yeah, there was like a transitionary period, like it had to be, right, to where not necessarily left and right is, better or worse, but it just made more sense for me to be on the left and specializing in stuff. And I think it was like 2019 TOC final is where we started stacking like, okay, we're just doing it like this now. So I think maybe at that time I was probably better, but there was definitely a time when, like in our initial partnership where he was definitely better. And yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone other than Matt was close to him. So, yeah, at the time he was definitely the best, and there was some transitionary somewhere in there. I don't know. And then outside that, also got Simone. Started playing with her in 2019, who was clearly the best girl at the time.
And so now you're winning mixed tournaments on top of men's
right.
tournaments.
Yeah, so it was obviously partner based, and also just practicing with both of them and just being around the best players. Like it all lined up, right? It was all really good stuff. Singles, not that at the time, not many people like trained singles a lot, but I still would, and I was one of the few that would, along with like Tyson. So the singles field at the time was just not super deep. There were not a lot of great players, so it was mainly just me and Tyson duking it out in every final.
And you were training specifically for Tyson at a certain point?
Yeah, no, we 100% were training just against each other because we weren't losing to other people really. Like, not that I can remember, very few people. I lost to Joey like once, I think. I think I lost to Tyler once. But we were training for each other, and we were the primary two that were making each other better. Like I was getting better because I was playing Tyson in every final.
And so you're 19, 20 at this point?
Yeah. So 2019, I just turned 20.
And so you're 20 years old. The sport is about to explode, right? Because it's COVID. Are you like you seem so humble. Like I feel like your demeanor on court is something that I have so much appreciation for. I feel like you're kind of like the Mike Trout, you know Mike Trout? You're kind of like Mike Trout, like you're not.
I haven't heard that analogy before.
You're not like there's not like a bunch big highs and low lows, and
you're very stoic.
So stoic and cerebral. Are you, at this point, are you like, oh my God, like I'm the best in the world at this thing? Or are you just kind of like, I'm going along for the ride and just see what happens?
I mean, you can't not have that sense a little bit just because you have to in order to stay there. Like you got to be like, oh, I have something very cool and something very desirable and something that I want to maintain, because you have to have, motivation and drive to keep it that way. But there's also a lot of just perspective is what I call it, just because pickleball is a wonderful sport. It's amazing. It's a privilege to be in it, but it's also a numbers thing. Like I feel like I don't think about it a lot, or like go me, like ego wise, it's hard to have a very large ego when you're playing a sport that is relatively small compared to other professional sports. Just like, again, it's all a numbers thing. Like, do you know how many millions, billions of people are trying to play soccer? Professionally? Like, it's incredible. Like, if you're Messi, you are 1 in a billion. 100%, you're 1 in a billion. If you're playing pickleball, you're 1 in, whatever the number is. Like, it's a lot smaller.
1,000.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just a lot easier to be at the top in a sport that has less numbers. That's not to say it isn't hard, but there should definitely be less ego attributed to it. Like, if you have an ego being Messi or Ronaldo, like,
you get it.
To be humble as that guy is crazy, right?
So here's what has impressed me about you. And I've said this for a couple years now, because obviously more tennis players have come into the sport. The field has gotten so much deeper. And yes, 3-4 years ago, you were definitely the best. You're still the best now. But there were a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, when real athletes come into the sport, like, Ben's not going to stay on the top. Or even, not just you, but those kind of pickleball players. Like, there's going to be a new level of athlete that comes in. And you've still managed to not only stay on the top, but stay so dominant. And that pressure of people saying that, and I don't know, was there some anxiety there that, hey, this might get really hard soon, or did that push you to work harder? How have you stayed at the top through all this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pickleball is one, it's in how you learn. Like, you have to stay good. You just have to be good at learning. That's really kind of how I always thought of getting better at pickleball. I learned from other people. Most of how I got good is copying stuff from other people and adapting it. Like, most of my shots, you can point to a specific person that I got it from. So a lot of it comes down to just practice and learning.
Did you copy me on any shots a year?
No, sorry, no, not yet.
Not yet.
We'll see.
I gotta work on some stuff.
And then outside that, I think it's somewhat limited in terms of, yes, there are really good athletes that can do a lot, but I think one reason that a lot of people seem to appreciate pickleball and like playing it is because it's hard to out-athlete people in pickleball. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Not that athleticism doesn't help enormously, but in comparison to most sports, there's other stuff you can do that compensates for athleticism more than the usual kind of divide is, if that makes sense.
You're saying that chess-like strategy outweighs athleticism.
Or how you learn, or what mechanics you have. Like, a lot of stuff, like mechanics especially, I will say, are going to take you a lot further than just pure athleticism does. So it's a little easier to stay ahead of really athletic people because of that. Now, if a really athletic person also gets to learn really good mechanics, of course you're going to see really good results, but it needs to be a lot of things. Like, you can't compete in basketball if you're not really athletic. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Was there anything that you were doing during that, let's say 2022 to 2025 period in your training regimen that just other people weren't doing that was keeping you ahead? Was it you were studying film more than others? I think now we've seen, right, there's just a lot of people are drilling, a lot of people are watching film, a lot of people are studying the game. But was there anything that you were doing specifically throughout those years that other people weren't doing that was keeping you ahead?
Yeah, I'd say there are kind of different eras to how I would play and train in pickleball. The 22 to 25 that you mentioned, that was mostly just Collin time. And he would, credit to him and just kind of how we would train is just he would do a lot of the analysis and be like, hey, we need to work on this. I'd be like, okay. I'd put my head down and I'd train.
Yeah.
And of course, we'd still have some discourse. Like, I would talk. It helps if you talk it through and like, oh, you need to work on this. You need to work on this. In this scenario, we should do this. Like, of course, you're still a team. But
was this hours on Tim Klitsch's court? Like, training?
100%. Yeah. So it was all drilling time. Like, we played 90+% drilling, like very few games. Because at that time, I felt in most of those years, it was very pattern based. Like,
so wild.
It was matchup based. And because of matchups, it was very pattern based. So Collin would do a lot of analysis. It'd be like, all right, we need these shots for these scenarios. It's very specific. So a lot of those years of getting better were just getting better at very specific shots in specific scenarios.
Could you give me an example, like, of, one pattern or one shot that you really focused on for a certain team, a certain player?
Yeah, for sure. So in like 2022 and 23, we played Matt and Riley in nearly every final. And honestly, like, Matt was just very, very good off. He still is forehand off the bounce, like getting me line, middle. Like I'd have to cover both those line, body, middle, and just getting to all three of those and hitting it in a way to where Riley wasn't here on the next one was very hard. So that's kind of where we developed the high backhand, two-handed backhand line, which I didn't really have before. Mostly like if I hit the two
counter.
Yeah, so as a counter, not just a block, hitting a two-handed backhand, that was a huge add. And that was a pattern that we saw a lot to where even if you hit a good counter from that scenario, you had Riley camping out in the middle with his forehand. That was just not a good pattern for us. So that's like one that we got much better at just via analysis and training.
I want to take a step back around the idea of ego. And I think there's a lot of pro pickleball players that didn't quite make it in their main sport, right? A lot of tennis and volleyball and what have you. You didn't really have that main sport, and you never had like a failed career in a first sport. Do you think that attributes to your lack of ego and in your appreciation for what you talked about in terms of the size and scale of the sport compared to another sport?
I'm not really it could be that. I guess it'd be hard to say that because I don't have that as an experience. I mostly just attribute it to, again, parents just being raised a certain kind of way. It was like we were taught to think very analytically, and it mostly just comes down to numbers for me. And also, of course, they did emphasize like being, perspective, humble about stuff is the right way to be. So try not to have an ego. It doesn't help you in anything. Yeah.
And then before Collin, there was the Matt years, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that was
Kyle to Matt.
Yeah. 2020 was when I played with Matt the most. We played 8 tournaments together.
And you had a lot of success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we lost to Riley and Tyson maybe a couple times. Once I can remember, once for sure, maybe twice. But yeah, Matt and I won most things that year.
Was there a lot of pressure? Like, has it been hard being you? Seriously, like having a sport really kind of before Anna Leigh got in, I kind of feel like all of it was on you.
Yeah, but it's also like it's just not that big in a lot of ways. Maybe that's a perspective thing again. But I just always compare it to like if you see a basketball star, really any really major sport, the stars in there, it's like the amount of criticism and pressure and all that they have is like, that's immense. Like that's tough. For me, it was always just, maybe it's because you're in the world that you're in. When you're in pickleball every day, I don't really see it as a lot. It's just kind of, it is what it is. It is some pressure, I guess. But it's the pressure that you put on yourself is definitely more than what other people put on you.
And you're not on social media, really.
No. Don't really. That like how I always think of it with social media is, you have those people that are like, oh, social media, what a waste of time. It's like, I'm not that person. Like, yeah, I think it's mostly a waste of time. But for me, it's not because I'm a super productive person. I'm like, there's just other ways I'd prefer to waste my time.
So you're unaware that like when you lose a game, people are like, oh, Ben's done. You're unaware of this.
I'm sure it happens, but I don't see it.
It's wild. Like the amount of ridicule these players are under when they lose one match.
Yeah.
And you're also unaware that like I posted so much about you and Anna Leigh, and people are they're like, just one guy said, I don't know if I should say this, but he's like, you should get a pillow for your knees.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, dude, he's the best player in the world. Like I say,
clicks are clicks. I'm sure people still click on it. Like,
I call you the GOAT all the time.
Whether you say something positive or whether you say something negative, people are going to click on it. So like, I get it.
To add to Jared's point though, let's say you have a loss and you don't get a triple crown. People always make a big deal out of it, right? Everyone's like, wow, like, because you're beating Ben Johns, who has the most medals, who's supposed to win every single tournament, who's, supposed to be the king of pickleball. And so he loses a match and it's this big deal. That's the kind of pressure that I feel like would be a little tough and annoying, that it's like, God, I can't even have a bad day on the court because it's like everyone makes such a big deal out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't even take, like, let's say I am just not feeling it one day.
Well, again, it just comes down to a numbers thing. Even if you're a 90+% favorite in every single match you play, which is a generalization, but we'll take it for what it is. Just say that's the case, and that would be a really nice number to have. That's still like you're going to lose one, like one per tournament, basically, if that's what the percentages are. Even if your percentages are better than that, you're going to lose once every 1, 2, 3 tournaments. So when it happens, yes, people are going to make a big deal out of it because it is the anomaly, right? The one that, oh, this happened. It's usually maybe not necessarily, maybe it is this way sometimes, but it's not necessarily because of the matchup or the player, because a person's done or whatever. It's more just like, yeah, numbers wise, it's going to happen eventually. Even if you have a 90+% on every match, it's going to happen at some point.
Has there been any part of you losing some matches due to boredom? I'm serious. Like, are you? Because we spoke it.
I don't like to call it boredom. I would say the word is lackadaisical. That could be applied at times, and that's on me because I think a lot of what pickleball comes down to, a lot of what sports comes down to, is how well are you able to focus on any given day or time or match, right? Focus is just a huge thing. If you can give 100% focus, then you're locked in, right? And if you're not able to do that, then you're going to struggle in sports.
Yeah, I mean, you've taken a lot. And maybe you haven't even seen this. I don't know, but there's been a lot of heat around MLP, right? And like, I think with PPA, you get to choose your partners, and you're getting to play with the best players in the world because you're the best in the world. MLP, that's not how it is. And I think, again, you might not have any clue that this happens, but like in the kitchen and on social media, people are like, "Oh, there's MLP Ben," and he's just kind of like, you know, like he seemed, and I don't know if you remember this, we talked at Bolden Acres when we played that match with you and Connor Pardo and Jason, and I said, how many more years do you have? You said, I got 3 more years. And this was 3 years ago. And so here you are, like, is there, I don't know.
In that sense, what you're saying, like the years, the time, there is some sense of boredom, not in a specific match, but in a general case, because like doing the same thing every day at some point does get wearing and people get tired of it, right? So yeah, I guess you could say there's some sense of that, but for me, it's still exciting in pickleball. Like new, different partners helps a lot. That kind of drive helps. Different tournaments, like there's still enough, right, to where I'm still interested. I wouldn't call myself bored. The general case of that is in the future, yes, I could see that happening just because if you've done it for 10+ years, like eventually it's going to get old. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think I did generally have sometimes a little bit of a lackadaisical mindset, which I think is on me for like I've tried to find ways actively to be better, especially in like early rounds. And it's a similar thing in MLP where if it's like the first match you play in a day, like I do struggle with that early in the morning, especially. Not a morning person.
There's a saying to get Ben in the early rounds or early in the morning.
Or indoors.
Yeah. Any of those for sure.
And what is the indoor situation?
It's literally just a medical thing. Like I can't see out of one eye in most indoor lightings unless it's very, very good. And that's because of a sledding accident I had when I was 9 years old. So I got like permanent nerve damage in my right eye. So yeah, in the medical diagnosis that I got was we'll struggle with depth perception in indoor lightings. So.
There you go. Pickleball community. It's like everyone, it's just
MLP is indoor a lot of the time. I guess not really.
No, I mean there's
right?
quite a few indoor MLP events.
You like MLP. It's just a lot of times it's out of your control, some of the stuff that happens.
There is less control in general. And there's like anything, there's positives and negatives, right? Like you play with different partners. Different partners to me a lot of the time can be fun. Like I got to play with you. I thought that was really fun. Of course, there's going to be more chaos. There's going to be like that's what it is, right? We all understand that with MLP, with different partners, different partnerships that you're playing against. There's going to be a little more randomness to it, a little more variety in results. Your level is going to vary more. Like there's more variety of situations. Like PPA, it's like you have this down to a science. And you try to keep it that way. It's like this is my routine. This is how I work with this partner. This is how we play against this team. Like it's very methodical, right? Yeah. That's not what MLP is, and that's why a lot of people do like it. Is you get more variety of results. You get more variety in how the player performs, how they look. Like there's a lot more variety to it naturally because of the whole team-based thing. So positives and negatives with that, like it shows how players are able to adapt to other players, other partners, and that's a valuable attribute to have, just like it's a valuable attribute to have on PPA to be very methodical and like the same every time, right? But it's also great to be adaptable, and that's where I think it is definitely a struggle to play with me. Like if you haven't played with me before, you maybe know this. I don't know if you struggled or not, but when people play with me for like the first time, I don't really adjust my game style very much. I play how I play. And maybe I could adjust more, but usually I feel like it's definitely both a struggle and a good thing to play with me because, yes, they play usually a lesser amount of the court than they're used to, but that can be a real struggle
very
for people.
Big left. The best thing ever was when we played MLP in New York, and we were playing AJ and Riley. We won this match. It was great, but I'm like getting out of the way like so far. And Rachel Rohrbacher's boyfriend, Bobby, great guy, great heckler. He was like looking for lines to say. So like if I'd hit a good shot, he'd be like, he's going to talk about that on the podcast. and you know, a couple times Ben came over and took the ball from my left foot and we would like win the point. And he's like, let him play, Ben. And I remember thinking like, wow, I am so far off the court right now.
I mean, it's funny. Just the thing is that like back to what I initially said, like sometimes it's easy when like I'm taking balls and scoring points. Sometimes it's really hard when you're either getting
like I didn't need to touch the ball. Like,
but then also sometimes it's really hard. Like when you get balls in certain situations, sometimes I pump fake you. Sometimes you're getting it like 10 balls in a row where I'm not taking stuff. Like it's very like ebb and flow. Like you get a lot of like tough scenarios where it'd be like, this is not the easiest thing to do. So yeah, like being adaptable in that sense to me and in general in MLP is a hard thing to do. And it's probably an asset that people undervalue when they watch it, where they're like, oh, this person is always, you know, this good, and then here they're not for whatever reason. It's like, well, they're dealing with a lot of like adversity and variety, right? Like it's not an easy thing to do. That's why I always like playing with you, playing with Hunter. I'm like, it's not easy. It's right? Like they get a lot. They get flamed every time. If we lose, it's like it's usually them getting flamed. Like it was your fault. Good job. I was like, well, it's very hard. Like,
we got the hang of it. I think we won like our last 3 or 4.
And then Ben got traded.
And then we all got traded.
We all got traded.
Yeah, we all got traded.
So talking about partnerships, I mean, you and Collin were so dominant for so long. And then I think there started being some chinks in the armor. And I think people started figuring you guys out. And you started not having as much success. What was that like? Is he one of your best friends?
Yeah, for sure.
And so what was that like going from being so dominant to then being vulnerable and then having to ultimately make the decision to leave Collin?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing is like being dominant, like incredible experience, like just getting to play with your brother in a sport professionally is an incredible privilege, period. To do it at that high of a level, even better. Like amazing to work together every day and be dominant and win a bunch of tournaments together. Like such a great feeling every time you win a tournament together, like phenomenal. And it was hard, you know, every day, like just training, like it was a privilege to be able to train at something every day. Like that was really great. In terms of everything else, I do remember like a conversation where it's like, we realized this is unsustainable, right? In terms of winning, because we were winning so much where it's like this, it almost shouldn't be happening this much. Like we were winning, once we kind of, I guess, got the hang of Matt and Riley match up a little more where we were going back and forth for a while. But after that, there was a time where we won a lot of tournaments in a row. And we were like, let's, again, the perspective is the word that keeps coming up where it's like, you know, eventually this is not going to happen like this. And we need to be ready for that in terms of, yeah, we'll continue to try to adapt. But if that day comes, you know, try not to be upset about it. Just, you know, value the time that you had of being this dominant. Because
are you saying this? Are you like
we both were? I'm just like, hey, like try to appreciate this because it's really hard to do, and it probably won't happen for all that long. If it happens for another year, another 2 years, like appreciate that because it's probably not going to happen for it that long. So yeah, and then that came into I guess 2024, just last year. Of it, not happening as much. So it was some sense of, okay, it is happening. We're losing a little bit more. And then, of course, the inevitable, which is like no professional athlete wants to be losing. So, of course, there's generally neither of us were happy about it. So we had to both keep the perspective of initially like this was bound to happen at some point, and then the natural reaction of this sucks, we hate it. So yeah, that all of that, I would say, just Collin incredibly good at being a partner built to, like we've said before, like being built for me from the ground up. Like we only trained him to be good at this stuff that was really built to be played with my game style, which is one reason why I feel like it's hard to find another partner for him where it's like I said before, like you adapt to me, like you just adapt around how I play.
Yeah,
right?
No, you're totally right.
It's hard to find another me for his partner. Whereas if I'm playing with somebody, it's like, I adapt a little bit, but mostly I kind of just play how I play, and other people have adapted to me up to this point, at least. I guess with Gabe, there's been more of I guess I've adapted a little bit with him.
Well, he comes over and takes a bigger middle too.
Yeah, for sure. So there's been more of that, but up to that point, it had always been like that. So yeah, that's why I kind of feel like it is definitely hard for him to find.
He got a raw deal kind of.
Right, exactly. Where it's like, well, he needs somebody that plays like me, but that's just, there's not a lot. There's not a lot out there, right? So yeah, he was always built to play very much my game style. He was also built to play in a time where paddles were not what they are now.
Yeah. And his defense is, I mean, Collin's resets might be my favorite shot.
Yeah. It's a lot of people. Watching it's just buttery. It's just beautiful. So good. Just like the amount of reps he put into it. Like, I just feel like there's certain people and certain game styles that unfortunately were not complemented by technology, and certain skills that were not complemented, right? Like we still talk about it today, where it's like you're using, to some extent, like almost a tennis racket in a lot of ways on certain shots, where it's like, it used to be a lot harder to learn certain types of shots. The learning curve is much less than it used to be on a lot of shots. And by extension, some players and some assets and skills they learned got diminished because of certain stuff that you're able to do and that you're able to learn more quickly.
100%. I mean, but some players have adapted. Like, I feel like Jay's having a resurgence right now. I think
he's had some good results for sure.
I think Catherine was very much a defensive player and had to learn to be more offensive. I think Collin has also adapted his game.
100%.
More power,
more in the middle. We worked on a lot of stuff that changed him as a player, like as all players should, right? But naturally, there are going to be some skills that you have that you rely on that aren't as useful. Like, you spent years, hitting blocks and stuff where it's like, oh, now people can just speed up from anywhere, I guess. Or, another thing I always reference a lot is, pancakes, like hitting the stop sign, pancake style shot, still really good. Not as good as it used to be. Back in the day, like when you didn't have a lot of spin or power to get it on people from low positions quickly, this was death. Like we said for years, like in 2023, 2022, the best shot in the game was like Riley's like pancake. Like you avoided that. It was the Death Star. Like, don't go there.
Still is.
It's still very good.
But it's he's not getting that.
By the fact that you can speed up from different positions. You can bend it left and right to where you can't cover everything. And most importantly, you can get a velocity on it that this can't always get there, right? Whereas when it was a little slower, not able to bend it left and right as much, it was like this covered everything when the ball was a certain amount of low. Like, Riley has like this is for when you attack from low, and then this is when you attack from high. He had an up-down instead of a left-right, which most tennis players have, which worked really well. So like, Collin, paddle technology did a lot to his shots where it was like less effective and you had to adapt. Same thing with somebody like Riley, where it was really, really good with slower paddles. Like, I feel like paddles did him a disservice, right? And that's just naturally going to happen. He's adapted as well and gotten better at things. He's driving more, fielding drives better. So yeah, like any player's job, it's to get better. But of course, naturally, again, numbers wise, certain players are going to be impacted more than others. And I feel like Collin is one of those and has had to adapt more because of paddles than most players.
This is kind of an interesting paddle nerdy question for you. In terms of speed, spin of the pro game, and I guess of the amateur game too, what is kind of like that perfect mesh? I know we've talked about just off camera about how spin is great for the game, right? Keeping spin in the game while limiting power, that's going to create a lot of fun points. But also I know from a paddle standpoint, people don't want to limit innovation.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around all that?
Yeah. So it is definitely hard because there's a couple things. One, you have to look at, as a fan, what do I want to watch, right? And then I think that's a little bit different from what pros want to experience in game. And then I also think that's different from what amateurs like to experience with their paddles. So there's like a couple of things fighting there. For amateurs, usually it's like the more power and spin I have, the more they seem to like it. Yeah. Like most of them are just like, oh, I want to be able to do cool stuff with the ball, right? Like that's fun. Like I like forgiving paddles, I like power paddles, I like spin, I like it all. And then I think there's the pro side, which is like there's definitely some kind of middle ground where we like being able to maneuver the ball, but we like being able to learn more stuff where it's not quite as easy. Like if we were using table tennis rubbers out there, like it wouldn't be very fun. Like the points would be crazy. Learning would take less time. Like you don't want to make it into completely tennis or completely table tennis. You do like to keep that pickleball aspect. And then there's like what the fans like. Do they like speed and hands? Absolutely. Do they like dinking forever? No. So you do need that middle ground. For us, how we've kind of talked about it, I do think it is mainly spin oriented to where you can speed up and do cool stuff with the ball, but power ends points more quickly than anything. And that's why I think like guys game versus girls game, a lot of people like watching women's doubles more than men's doubles. And I think that's mostly because of like hands, not hand speed, but hand like heaviness of hands, right? When you attack into James Ignatowich's backhand here, the point is going to end one way or another, like very quickly. And that's it's the same analogy between men's and girls, to where girls really good defense, really good hands, really fast hands, and they get something on everything, but their put away power is not quite the same. Their countering power is not quite the same, to where the point ends on that first or second one sometimes. Like theirs just keep going.
Yeah,
that's
the hands battles are
fun to watch.
I also think it's something that the reaction time and being able to outlast someone in a hands battle is a skill.
It's very much a skill, and it's very fun to watch.
But if you take the power down a little bit, you're gonna see
more of that on the men's side
better
too.
Battles.
But you're gonna see the more skilled players get rewarded more often.
Absolutely. Like there were definitely multiple players where I was like, when paddles started to get more powerful, I was like, that player does not have naturally heavy hands, and they shouldn't be winning that, but they are, right?
So 2019 or 2025 pickleball, which do you prefer?
I would say I do prefer, if I'm only giving those years, then I'd prefer 2025, because 2019 was like a lot of dinking, right?
Okay.
Like nobody wants to watch that forever. There is
what's the ideal
that
year
middle
then?
ground. It's hard to say, it's hard to give it a year, because there's a combination of technology versus players, and people get them confused, because players have gotten better at things for sure. In terms of percentages, I'd say spin, we're close, I think, is probably very near optimal. Power could still come back a decent amount, or spin might be able to come back as well. In an ideal world, maybe this isn't practical, like singles versus doubles might be a little bit different. Like I think...
You think spin should come down from where it is now? Because I feel like spin just got kind of, at least on the PPA tour, got hammered a little bit.
It was 5% reduction.
I think spin has become way crazier.
Yeah,
the past couple of years. Like
maybe it's the lifetime ball. I know the lifetime ball runs off a little quicker.
That does change things a little bit. It changed, power. It comes off a little bit hotter, and in certain conditions, it's less spinny or more spinny. It varies a lot based on like the conditions. But yeah, in terms of paddles, I would say they could be less spinny for sure. Still, definitely less power overall, and that would change the dynamics a good amount. But yeah, like I said, like different between singles and doubles, I wouldn't mind. Like if you went a little spinnier for singles, I think that'd be cool. You'd still get to see players like bend the ball, right? Whereas
Lucien Goins is I feel like he can carve the ball.
Oh yeah, it's very, very fun to watch, right? But also back to what we said, you don't want it high enough, really, and this is less of a fan thing and more of a pro player thing, is the learning curve. You 100%. Have to respect how people have learned stuff over time. If you make spin too high, more than power by far, spin limits the learning curve a lot, 100%. Right? So you want it at a point where the learning curve is still a little hard, right?
Ben, what's a part of your game that wins you matches that no one notices? And what's a part of your game that you hate?
The hate is easier. I just wish I had a smoother two-handed backhand, like kinetics-wise, of how it moves, the fluidity of how easy I can generate power. It's not nearly as fluid as the other stuff that I have. If you look at Anna Leigh, it looks like effortless power. I'm like, God, can I have that as a two-handed backhand, please?
You're talking about the baseline.
Yeah. I mean, either one, really. Like, power gets by at the kitchen line when I hit it, because you're closer to somebody, it doesn't matter quite as much. But when she baseline, if you see her hit a ground stroke, it's like, I would like that kinetic chain, please. And then something that wins me stuff that other people don't see as much. I don't know, because I'm not a spectator of myself.
I feel like I can answer this.
Yeah, you answer it for me.
Yeah, it's consistency.
And I also think not riding the wave, just like level-headed.
I have a question though. Is it consistency?
Like level-headed. Ben almost never. Sorry, consistency.
Consistency. The thing is with consistency, most people mean not missing a lot. To me, it's more important to be consistent in terms of your level. You shouldn't have a lot of dips in your game.
I was thinking decision making.
I think all those kind of correlate a little bit. I think your decision making. I think your consistency is high because. Sorry. I think your decision making is high because.
Tough word over there, but.
Sorry, I got a cough.
Mini stroke.
Yeah, talk me up, Ross.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
I think your consistency is very high because you make the right decisions.
Succinct way of saying it.
Beautiful.
Because I do feel like a lot of people say like you're consistent and steady and all this stuff, and I'm like, but I definitely still consider myself an aggressive player, like in terms of court and attacking. So it's like, how do those two things mesh, right? And I think it really just does come down to, at any given point, you want to be aggressive and make the aggressive play when the percentages are still in your favor, right? Mm. So to me, like, I'm definitely aggressive. It's just like I don't often, a lot of people won't even consider me aggressive because I don't pull from positions that seem like bad decisions, quote unquote.
But I think that's what separates you. And I think from watching from a fan, spectator, view, it's hard to notice those things.
Yeah,
I think
they are somewhat hard to notice. I do feel like some people are just like, I don't understand why you win. I'm like, I don't know either,
like,
man.
oh, he doesn't attack as much. It's like, no, he just is patient enough to wait for the right ball to attack. I think especially lately too, you've been playing more aggressive. What's funny is I remember at MLP I was giving you a little bit of crap for not speeding up off your forehand.
Off a certain ball. He's like, it's always at the backhand foot. I was like, oh, yeah, it is. In a lot of situations, I don't feel like I have the best like speed ups. Like if you have Gabe speed up, yeah, you should speed up because it just works. Like if I speed up from that position, it's just not going to work.
If you go watch our match against the Atlanta Bouncers in Beer City, you sped up 3 or 4 times off your forehand side and you were 4 for 4. Yeah. And that's when I watched the match back, I'm like, gosh, why does Ben not do this more? Yeah. And you win a lot. You don't need to change much. But I'm like, it kind of makes me think, I'm like, you're so good at this. You don't do it that much, but you are so good at it when it comes out.
Yeah. A lot of that comes down to like, sometimes I'm just workshopping something, like I'm experimenting a little bit, and you've never truly experimented well until you do it in a real match, right? You can do something 1,000 times in practice and still like people are like, why are you experimenting in a real tournament match? Like, because that's where you have to do it in order to get better at stuff. So sometimes I do workshop stuff like that. And then other times, like the reason I'm not doing what you're saying, like speeding up more, is like, I could, and we'd have maybe a close to a 50-50 even when I'm speeding up well. But generally, if I'm at the kitchen line with most teams, it's like I could take the 50-50 or near to it, maybe 55. Or if I keep going, I feel like I'm probably closer to 60.
For sure. I think the longer the point goes, the better your odds are.
He's a percentage guy. He said it many times. He's the most cerebral mind.
But at the same time, I always encourage players, like if you see an attackable ball that you feel like you can attack profitably, you have to do it, because there's also unforeseen percentages there where it's like
deeper in the game.
Yeah, but even if it's like 50-50, putting more pressure on people gives you errors. So I do feel like taking a lot of court and attacking whenever I feel like the percentages are pretty close, like that 55 to 60, like I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna dink forever because I like putting pressure on
You're
people.
like a poker player, man. Like you seriously, you play percentages. You know, like you just nailed it. Like, yeah, you can win that 55% of the time, but if you play it another way, you're at 60%. Like that is literally the difference between Ben Johns and 99.9% of other pickleball players.
I think a lot of players do it without knowing they're doing it. They're more feel-based players. Like if I'm thinking about it now, it is percentages based, but a lot of it is percentages in a feel-based way where you're doing this like, I'm doing it because not because I'm like, oh, I'm at 55% right now when I'm on the court, but it's like a feel thing where it's like, this feels like a good thing to do. And in hindsight, I'm like, that was a good thing to do. They started feeling more pressure. I was probably at like a 55% plus there, and I should be doing it. So in retrospect, you do think about it in percentages. At the time, it is still very feel-based. That's what a lot of players do out there. They should be operating on a feel-based decision-making thing, just because you can't be thinking too much while you're trying to play.
What was the moment in pickleball that humbled you the most?
Humbled me the most. I feel like I should think about this one for a while. Most memorable. I feel like just like in pickleball, not that again, it's like a big ego thing, but most things you can kind of look at in pickleball and be like, I could do that. I think a lot of people have that, but you have that thing at the pro level of like, I think I can learn this, or I think I can learn that. And having kind of the humbling moment, I guess it wasn't so much one specific moment, but more a general realization in the past year or 2 years where I'd look at players and I'd always thought up to that point where it was like, whatever you can do, I can learn that too. And that's how I got better at pickleball for the most part. But I'd say that general realization is there are certain things that some people started to do where I was like, I don't think I can do that. So I'd look at like how Gabe would speed up from certain positions, or look at how Anna Leigh hits her backhand. I'd be like, I don't think I can do that. Up to that point, I'd always had that confidence of I can learn anything in pickleball. And then at some point I was like, oh, they're kind of good at this. I don't think I can do that.
Was it losing to Roscoe? Was that your most humble moment?
Should be.
Was that a year ago now?
It's probably a year ago, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in Vegas.
I was so proud of him.
That was a
big
we'll
moment
call
for
it
us,
we'll call it a low moment.
It was funny because I remember someone saying like I said earlier, like you got to get Ben early in the draw. That's when he cares the least, right? That's when he's just on cruise control.
Jim Kloss calls it, he has different, there's Tuesday Ben, Wednesday Ben, Thursday Ben.
It's interesting.
It's not so much that as just like, one, I'm not great in the morning. Like I just have I struggle to be
late nights of Fortnite.
And it's not that I usually do a good job at sleep. I sleep so much and so well, but in the morning I'm just not as awake, despite caffeine, despite whatever. I just haven't found a great way to be at the same level in the mornings as I am in later on. And then, it's. I feel like it's more of that rather than it's not so much a lack of care. Like when I lose, I'm still just as mad when I lose to you, right? So it's not really a care thing. It's more just like I guess I wasn't fully on it in the morning, but also you did play pretty well that day. So I do remember in the third game, I was like, God, this kid keeps hitting these passing shots with this backhand. Like the two-way cross was on that day.
I was getting killed too, and I just like.
I remember I was rolling you game one. I was like, it's very rare that I will win game one and then lose the next two. Usually it's like,
and I kept
lose.
I kept serving like full max topspin. I kept getting these bad bounces.
Back of the line.
And Ben was losing his mind.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like,
So it was a fluke?
It was fluky.
Flukish?
I mean, I was playing well.
Singles as a fluke.
Yeah,
I think you're not favored against me, but
I definitely wasn't favored. Yeah.
Me for sure.
Singles, I feel like I can take some.
You can take anybody on a good day, Roscoe.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you want to be remembered for in your pickleball journey when you decide to hang up the JOOLA shoe or the Babolat's?
Remembered for, I guess I don't think about that too much. Legacy, I guess people call it. Honestly, whatever naturally comes. Pickleball does a great job of just doing its thing naturally, and I believe that for players too. Like whatever comes my way, I'll take it. I don't think about legacy too much. I just do the best I can. And
that's perspective. I mean, you said perspective a few times.
I'm not going to engineer my legacy. It's like, it's going to be what it's going to be.
I mean, I respect
You're
that.
stoic in the way that you're not trying to think about the future as much. You're more focused on the present.
I'd like people to think good of me in the future as a legacy, but it's not something I'm focused on right now.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be nice, but yeah. I mean, I guess if it's just a hope, then I'm good for the game as a whole. Yeah, for everybody. Pros, fans, players. Like,
definitely have been. I mean, you've been such a joy to watch, man. Like just seeing you evolve, and it's
a joy to watch. You hear that, Roscoe?
Yeah,
a joy to. I mean, but it's truly like to
tell me that.
And to have someone at the.
Anybody ever told you you're a joy to watch?
No,
just the opposite.
Roscoe, I enjoy watching.
There's so many times I watch Roscoe, I'm like, God, he's so not a joy to watch.
God, how is this guy playing a sport professionally? He's just this lanky. Spaghetti arm guy, somehow a professional athlete.
All right, I got a good one for you. Jared actually came up with this question. Does the next Ben Johns exist?
Is he out there?
Yeah, I feel like he definitely exists. I don't know who it is, but I guess it depends a lot on how do you, like, in what sense of that. Because if you're looking for like a similar level of dominance, for lack of a better word, it's again, mostly a numbers thing. I think I did put up a lot of numbers at a time where it was just you're competing with less depth of a field. So it'd be very hard to do that again. You know, you got to think like Wilt Chamberlain numbers in basketball. Like nobody's ever going to do that again because he was an anomaly in the field at the time. So there is a bit of that. But if you just mean like the next number one or whatever, or general figure in pickleball, I'm sure that definitely exists. I think just numbers are a hard thing to do, especially when comparing a sport that grows. It has grown as fast as pickleball has. Like just comparing any legacy figure in any sport to a current figure, it's very hard to do.
I have a feeling this person might live in Asia.
Very possibly, yeah. Based on the way Asia loves the game, how they like other racket sports like table tennis, badminton, and tennis.
Was that hard? Did you see some stuff that you hadn't seen before in Asia?
Not so much hadn't seen. Like there were definitely some trends of how players played over there that was a little bit different.
Was it like hyper aggressive?
No, like I thought it was going to be like that. It was more how they were countering balls was a lot more forehand dominant, where we're very backhand dominant for the most part, and they were very like up here, kind of like old classic pancake stuff. Not necessarily in a pancake grip, but in a more continental grip, but still forehand scorpion-like, basically. Because you have pancake and like a almost Western, semi-Western grip, or you have scorpion where it's continental, but you got to get really low in order to hit it.
Yeah.
They were kind of like that. which I think is a testament to them learning that in humidity, that works really well because the ball is slower despite fast paddles. I think we talked about this. It felt like more OG pickleball over there. I think I talked about it with Eric a lot, where it's like, oh, you actually have more hands battles because despite the powerful paddles, the ball doesn't go fast at all because it's humid and it's a slow ball. So it was like that, and they had kind of adapted to more hands rallies and just the ball being overall soft. Like singles guys dropped everything. Like they're really good at singles because they were just like
which almost really doesn't even exist in singles today.
Not really, other than like as a passing shot hitting a drop.
Like a roll works, but like a drop doesn't
different.
work.
No, these guys would just drop continuously because they're using a very, very soft ball. But yeah, with the lifetime ball, it bounces higher. It goes
what ball
faster
was it?
through the air. It was the JOOLA ball.
It's also so humid.
Yeah, no, it is absurdly humid. It's like Florida in the summer, like extremely humid. Yeah.
All right, I got a heater for you right here. This is one I definitely have been wanting to ask.
Uh-oh.
How far do Ben and Anna Leigh get in a men's doubles tournament? Men's doubles PPA.
Yeah, she's asked me this too. We both wonder. I hope we get to find out one day. Maybe we'll do it. Yeah, it definitely depends on the seed. I feel like, and I feel like either way you go, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's so wrong" in one way or another.
Let's say you get the one seed.
I think there's a lot of variation, but I'll say on average, I think we could make semifinals. I could definitely see us losing earlier because sometimes guys just, they're big, they're long, they take it out of your hands a little bit to where they can just win a match, right? Or I could see Anna Leigh being herself and just being like the freak that she is, like how hard she hits the ball, how much she makes drops. Like there's a lot of times where I'm like, you're dropping better than I am. You're countering harder than I am. The only thing you're lacking is like my length, right? Yeah. To where you can attack. But then you have these bounce attacks that are crazy good. It's like it feels like playing a guy in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I could see us, beating top men's teams, but I could also see us definitely I feel like there's more variance in a way. Like you could lose to more, you could definitely win. So I'll say semifinals, but yeah, I don't actually know. I'd love to find out.
You winning that bronze medal match?
Ooh, I guess I think it comes down to matchup at that point.
Okay.
There's some men's doubles teams where if I see them in a bronze medal match, I feel like we could definitely win, and there's somewhere I'd be like, no, we're not favored.
I think you could win tournaments with her. I really
100%. And that leads to my next question.
Thank you.
Ben Johns in his prime or Anna Leigh Waters in her prime, who's more dominant?
All comes back to numbers, and I mean she has more triple crowns, and that's what dominance is. So, yeah, you got to go with that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anna Leigh.
How far do two Anna Leighs get in a men's doubles tournament?
I think the difference between so if you have women's doubles here, men's doubles here, I don't think mixed doubles is right in between. I think it's closer to men's doubles because I've always been of the philosophy, generally in pickleball as a sport, you don't need to play 50% of the court. You should be playing more than that. It's very easy to play doubles in a 70% of the court way to where you can still cover everything and hit everything, right? So making it a 70-30 game, as I've talked about before, it's not that hard to do. And it just makes, I think, girls, they're so good at so many things where it's like if you put the ball on them really fast and they have to cover forehand and backhand, then it can be tough for them. But if you say, all right, you're fading, you're hitting one, Anna Leigh's hitting that ball hard enough to where it's going to be a winner. Doesn't matter. If you speed up in the wrong spot, it's going to be a winner. So if you do play in kind of a 70-30 mixed fashion, you can definitely beat some men's teams. Whereas I think if you do have two girls having reduced length on both sides and not being able to necessarily cover 70, maybe it's only 60-40 instead of 70-30, that cuts into it a little bit more. So yeah, I don't know how far she can get, but I definitely think a mixed team versus a women's team is a little different. That being said, I think her drop is better than maybe every guy, honestly. Drive is right there. Maybe not as much shape, but speed ups off the bounce are Gabe-like in a lot of scenarios. Hands are absurdly good. So it's like, could I see her beating a lot of men's teams? Absolutely. Yeah. So.
All right, dude. Well, thank you so much for being here, for taking your time to come chat with us. Thanks for being a good friend and a amazing person to the sport of pickleball.
High praise, Roscoe. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, Ben. I so appreciate your time. And more than that, I think just thank you for being a noble champion of the sport. Seriously, like such an amazing ambassador of the game and doing things really the right way in a time where there's a lot of people not always showing the best integrity. I feel like you're always just like, you're just a great champion. So
he's a good
I
dude.
do my best.
He's a good dude.
Everyone can only do their best.